Welcome to the amazing world of aerial silks. Aerial silks, or acrobatic silks, are not a gymnastics event, but they do encompass all the characteristics of gymnastics. That's strength, flexibility, and balance. I've been performing aerial silks for over 20 years now, and I found my gymnastics background has made learning skills on the silks much more natural and fun for me. Although versions of silks have been around since the 50s, they were really made famous in the world of Cirque du Soleil. Whether you'd like to learn some skills on the silks, or maybe just curious about how aerial silk performers perform the skills they do, I just thought some people might be interested to have some insight into the world of aerial or acrobatic silks. If you find this video interesting or helpful, please like or subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments if there's any other acrobatic skills or activity you'd like me to analyze. Keep enjoying all you do. We always learn better when we're having fun. Rock on. Climbing the silks. Now there's several ways to climb the silks. We can start off with the most basic way, which I call the wrap and lock. It kind of looks like a caterpillar slowly crawling up the silk. The object is to use your legs as much as you can and conserve as much energy not using your arms. Start off by hanging from the silk with the silk between your legs. Wrap the dominant leg around the silk and place the opposite foot on top of the silk that is on top of the dominant foot. It should cause a resistance that can hold your entire body weight. Then reach up the silk a little bit more and hang from the silk once again, while slowly sliding your feet up a little bit more, then cause another lock with your feet. Doing this over and over will help you ascend up the silk while using very little upper body strength. When you climb down the silks, come down the same way you climbed up, using your feet and locking them as resistance. Never slide down the silks, as the silks will easily burn you. You may be strong enough, or over time develop the strength to climb the silks without using your legs. Obviously, this takes a lot more strength, but it's much more impressive. At any point, you can always wrap and lock your feet to take a rest. In the ankle lock, we start with the silk between our legs, and just as we did when we climb, we wrap the foot of our choice around the silk, and now we take the silk that's above the leg and wrap it around the small toe, or the pinky of the foot, underneath the foot. You want the silk to be like a hammock and not like a rope, as it's more comfortable that way. Also, when it's higher in the arch, it's more comfortable. The more you practice this wrap, the more comfortable it will become. Now when you're higher in the silk, you will have to hang with your body weight from your arms and use your legs to make this wrap. So you'll hang briefly, wrap the leg of your choice around the silk. You're going to take the opposite leg and push the silk around your pinky toe. If there's a little slack between the foot that's pushing and the foot that's wrapping, it helps a lot. Just watch the video closely, and over time this will become more comfortable. To get out of this wrap, you simply take the unwrapped foot and push the silk off the end of the toe of the wrapped foot, and it will quickly and smoothly come off. Standing in both the silks. Start with the silks together and treat it like a rope. Climb up a little bit and cause an ankle lock by wrapping the foot around the silk, and with the opposite foot, push it around the pinky toe once again. Stand on the silk and push up with your legs. This is a little bit of a vulnerable point. That's why I like this hand on the other side of the silk to kind of act like a safety. Slowly and carefully separate the silks and put your opposite shoulder through the silks. You see our right leg is wrapped here, so we put our left shoulder through the silk. Lean up against the silk with your back. Now I use the side of my head and my left leg to kind of pinch the silk to be more secure. This takes a bit of practice, but will become more comfortable over time. The standing side split. Now this skill requires quite a bit of flexibility. Let's just take a look at it first. It's a very beautiful skill. When you first start doing this skill, you don't have to climb very high, maybe just 2 or 3 feet off the ground. So first, just climb up a little bit on the silk, do an ankle wrap with both feet together, wrapping your foot where you can stand in the silk. And from here, you're going to take your right arm and reach through the silk, placing the silk on your back. And your back is what's going to cause a resistance on this skill. Put the silk underneath your left arm, lean your weight over the side, and lift your left leg up and hook it on the silk. Now there's a little vulnerability on that foot. I want to turn this around so you can see what it looks like on the other side. And reach through the silk, put the silk underneath your left arm, lean your weight over the side, and lift your left leg up and hook it on the silk. And now reach down towards the ground. This helps to cause more resistance on the silk on your lower back, being a little bit more secure. Almost think of having your chest facing the ceiling a bit. That helps with resistance also. It's vulnerable because if that foot slips off, you will fall. It's all about putting resistance on your lower back with that silk. You can actually lift your lower leg in front of you a little bit to cause a little more resistance on your lower back in that silk. Just be careful on this skill and take your time learning it. You want to feel secure in the silk while you do this. To get out of this skill, simply grab the silk above you, take the foot off the silk, stand up slowly, and put the silk in front of you again, and pushing the silk off the end of your foot, unwrapping your lock. You can practice wrapping for the silks without climbing, but eventually you're going to climb the silk, carefully separate them like you see here, using that back hand as a security. Now separate the silks. Whichever foot you wrap first is going to be the front leg of your split. In this case, it's going to be the right leg. Wrap it around the silk, use the opposite foot to push it around the pinky toe, causing that ankle lock, and standing up in the silk. Now you have a choice how to wrap the second foot. You can do it exactly as we did the first foot, which is the most common way. An alternative is to not start with the silk between your legs and to wrap your foot on the outside of the silk. It's still going to be the same process because you're going to take the silk that's above and wrap it around your pinky toe on your left foot. Now you can see my knee is very high here, and the reason I do that is so I can have a 90-degree angle in my legs right here. I need this 90-degree angle to do the next trick, which is called a basket. Now you can also do the splits from this position. In this version, you'll have one leg higher than the other, but it's still very impressive. But once we have a 90-degree split in our legs, we can go into this next skill, which is called the basket. Now here we put our left arm through the silk, placing the silk behind our back, and you can see the silk is underneath our left armpit here. Now the trick with this is to pull up very strong and put your tummy towards the ceiling. Also, the leg will come to the side, not in front of you. That's how we can position the silk properly on our lower back. The more you pull up and put your tummy towards the ceiling, the easier this will be. Then you'll place the foot in front of the silk and you'll pull it back to cause a lock on the silk. You can see that silk is very low on the lower back. That's where you want it. To get out of this position, you slowly grab the silk and lower your leg to the side, putting all your body weight on that right leg. This will help you smoothly get out of this position going into the next skill, the layout. Now there's a lot of resistance on your lower back right here. So now take the silk below you and unwrap it from your foot. You can see the resistance is on your lower back. Now it's very important to get out of this skill to bend your leg and get on top of the silk to stand on that foot. If you don't get your weight on that foot, it's a bit vulnerable to fall here. All the body weight on top of that foot where you can stand up safely. To get out of this wrap, simply push the silk off the end of your foot, wrap and lock, and you can climb down safely. Now if you want to do a split that's parallel to the ground, we're going to prepare just as we did the off-parallel split by wrapping an ankle lock on the dominant foot and putting all our weight on that leg. Now with the reverse technique, we're going to ankle lock the other way on the outside, and here we're going to slide the foot down the silk a little bit. They're almost even with each other. Now wrap the silk around the pinky, lift that foot and step on the silk. You can see this split is much more even here. You can do a center split or you can do your side splits as well. To get out of the even split, you simply push the silk off the end of your foot using your hands or your legs. You can do this with each foot and simply wrap and lock, and you can come on down. The one leg hang is a simple wrap but a little uncomfortable in the beginning. The more you do this skill, the more comfortable it will become. Simply wrap your foot around the silk like normal, but now you put your knee over the silk and down towards the ground. That's what causes the lock. This little exercise on the floor can help you feel like what it's going to feel like when you're up higher in the silk doing this skill. Once you've done that a few times and you're comfortable with it, you can climb up the silk a little bit higher. Now I like to separate the silks as I'm climbing. It's just easier to keep them separate. Now you're going to separate the silks at the top, wrap your dominant leg around the silk, and put the knee over and down just as we did on the floor. As long as that knee is down, it causes the lock. Now to make this a bit more comfortable, easy, and secure, we're going to actually use the other foot to push the silk down as far as we can on our foot towards our ankle, and then put the knee over and down. It's a little more comfortable and a little more secure. You can use the other silk to slowly lower down upside down. As your lower body goes below the foot, it causes a lock. Here's a close-up so you can see how clean this lock is. Now it's very important to have the silk on the opposite part of your body as your foot. If you wrap with the right leg, you want the silk draped on the left side of your body. If you don't do this, when you climb out of this skill, it will form a knot and you'll be stuck in the silk. Once you're wrapped here, you use the other silk to climb out, and the higher you go and the knee is down, once you lift yourself up, the silk will unwrap very naturally and smoothly from your leg. Then wrap and lock and you're secure. The two-leg hang is much more comfortable than the one-leg hang. First start off by hanging with the silks between your legs. Now you're going to cross your feet in front of the silk and slowly pull them back, straddling the silk with your feet. Once you've done that, you put your feet together and you'll see the silk between your feet. Now put your feet around the side, to where the silk goes over the top of both feet. Then you lower your butt straight down and let the silk go between your feet and toes. That will cause the lock. I like to do this skill low at first so you can make sure you wrap yourself properly. Here we're laying on the ground. Also, when you climb out, you have to have the silk a certain way. This way is very bad, and if you do it that way, you'll form a knot when you climb out. This way is very good. You need to be able to see the silk above you between your feet. If you can see that, you're okay and you can climb out comfortably. Just keep climbing up and the wrap will come out all by itself. Then you can wrap and lock. I want to take another look at this skill. We're going to climb a little bit higher in the silk. Once again, get this clear in your mind before you do it. So hang by the silk, cross your feet in front and then pull them back. Now I'll turn around so you can see from the back angle. Let's start over real quick. Put the silk between your legs, cross your feet in front, pull your feet back and straddle the silk, put your feet together, and with both feet together, pull both feet around the side and make sure the silk goes over both feet. Once you've done that, lower your butt down. Now the higher the silk pushes up towards your ankle, the more comfortable it will be. Straddle the silk with your toes and feet and hang comfortably. You might feel more pressure on one foot more than the other, but that will get better over time. Now to climb out, as long as I can see the silk between my feet, I do a little swing and reach up and climb up out of the silk, swing up and grab the silk above you, then wrap and lock. Now the hip lock might be a little difficult to understand in the beginning, but it's actually a very simple wrap once you learn it. Let's take a look at it first. This lock actually feels pretty comfortable. And if you were ever hanging from a rope off the edge of a cliff, this would be one of the positions you'd want to rest in until help came. I wouldn't start very high in the silk, maybe 2 or 3 feet off the ground for this skill. Now if you've seen a windmill on the floor, it's very similar to doing this skill in the silks. And just with all skills, the more often you do it, the more comfortable it will become. So we start off by hanging very low on the silk with the silk on one side of our body. You're going to straddle backwards and put the silk tightly in your crotch. The foot on top goes in front of the silk, not behind the silk. Once you've done that, you can reach for the ground and have your toes point straight down to the floor. It's the bend or pike in the body that causes this lock. To get out of this skill, you simply reach up to the silk that you're hanging from, grab the silk, and as your feet lower down, it will simply unwind. Now for more complicated skills, it may be necessary for you to hang upside down from the silk with your hands free. We're going to use what I call the bat hang to do this. Let's take a look at it first. I pretty much want you to pinch the silks with your ankle and your legs and quads so you can hang with your hands free. Start off by laying on the ground with the silk to your side. You're going to straddle the silk and wrap a dominant leg around the silk. Take the opposite foot and put it on top of the silk that's on your foot. You want to lock down and pinch it with your calves and your legs and quads. That's going to cause your resistance so you can hang with your hands free. Now you want to climb a little bit higher and try this. Put the silk to one side of your body. You need to pull your legs up, turning upside down. Now there's going to be a little bit of a kipping action here because you need some slack in the silk to get that foot wrapped all the way around that silk. Once that foot is around, you lock with your calves and your quads and your legs as tight on the silk as you can. This should cause enough resistance to hang upside down. You may slide a little bit in the beginning, but the more you do this, the more secure this lock will become. Then you grab the silk, wrap and stand, and you're done. Once you're pretty secure with the bat hang, you can go into what I call the flip over. You start off with the bat hang, you put the silk on your chest or in front of you, take some time to separate the silks. Now we need to cross the silks behind our back. Watch the arms very closely in the video, as this is a very smooth technique to do this. You cross the silk and duck the head and pull on the silk and it will tighten around your lower back. Now you're pretty secure at this point. Turn your hands over and grab the silk like a steering wheel. Looks like you're driving a car. I'll turn to the side so you can see a little better. And now that you're locked, you can take your feet off the silk. You want your toes to go towards your face a little bit. Now it's pretty basic. As long as you have those silks secure in your hand, you can flip over the silk that's on your lower back. We'll do this in slow motion here so you can see what happens. As long as your arms are pushing the silk down there, you're very secure. After this point, you can simply wrap your feet around the silks once, and then you pinch your toes together, and this will cause a lock with your feet. This supports your body weight comfortably and you can be free with your hand. This leads us into the next skill, which I call the upside down straddle hang. you're simply going to reach above you and grab the silks, lift your toes up and to the side, and then do another wrap once around each leg very quickly. This makes it a little more secure. Once you've done this, you can lean back and support your body on your lower back with the silk. That silk on our lower back is our lock. It looks very nice, and you can also support another person below you if you wanted to hold them. That's how secure it is. To get out of this wrap, you simply reach up and grab the silks that are above you and come out of it the same way you got into it. You unwrap your feet and do a small little chin up, and the silk will uncross behind your back, and you can wrap and lock. In the sit in the silk sequence, we're going to use a few skills we've already learned here. We'll combine the bat hang and the flip over sequence. So again, climb up with the silk to your side, kip up into the bat hang, and pinch the silk between your legs and thighs. Now separate the silks and cross them in back, just as we did in the flip over sequence. One arm over and one arm under. Slide it down your back, and now we're in a secure support. Now this is a little bit different here. You're going to take one foot and put it between the silk and straighten your leg around that silk to where it's tight in the silk. Wrap the opposite leg around the knee and the foot so it's tight in the crotch, and put the foot back between the silk. Do the same thing on the other leg, wrapping the silk around the knee and the foot. Make sure it's tight in the crotch. And now you can bend your legs and put both feet through the silk. Once you've hit this position, you're very secure and comfortable. Let's take a look at this at another angle. Once again, wrap one foot between the silk, making it straight and taut. And on the opposite leg, wrap the silk around the knee and the foot, placing the silk high and tight in your crotch, and put the foot back between the silk. And same thing on the other leg. Wrap the silk around the knee and the foot, and place that foot back between the silk. And now bring both knees through the silk, and we're in our very comfortable, safe position. Now from here, we can swing our arms and grab the silk above us and pull our body all the way up into a sitting position. You can see the silk will go around your quads, but make sure it's tight close to the crotch. Now here you've got a silk over each shoulder. One at a time, you can drop the silks off your shoulder. Once you've done this, we're set up for our next trick. I call this the fall back Batman. You can see we fall back. You have to keep your legs as straddled as wide as possible. That's what causes our lock. If our legs come together, we could slip out of the silks here. And now you grab the edge of the silks and flip back up. With the edge of the silks in your hand, you look like Batman. Now we'll go into the flip backward, flip forward skill. We drop the silks and fall back like the fall back Batman, but this time we come back up and reach through the silks and grab the silks in front of us between our legs. When you grab the silks tight here, that's your lock. As you flip over, quickly throw the silks out to the side, and your body will flip over the silk that's on your lower back. You'll end up in a perfect T position. If you miss the silk, don't worry. You can see you're very secure, as the silk is actually wrapped around your arms and back. To get out of this position, simply pull your body up and the silks will uncross and fall off your back. To build up to this skill, you can simply start by sitting up in the silks and simply fall forward and grab the silks between your legs and flip over. Again, the silks will be securely locked crossed on your back. Now the cross pose is a very basic but impressive pose. You can start very low, practicing on the ground, but once you're comfortable, the skill looks very nice when it's done up high. Climb up and separate the silks, but now you're going to put each arm one at a time through the silks. The goal is to get both shoulders in front of the silks. Right now we have the left shoulder in front. Take some time to put the right shoulder in front. Now you need some space between the silk and your hips right here so you can reach through and grab your hands on the silk. Once you can do that, you grab the silks, and then slowly and comfortable put the silks to your side. This forms a very beautiful cross position. The resistance here is really underneath your armpits. When we turn around, we can really see it here. To get out of this, you simply wrap and lock, and using one hand at a time, you reach up and grab the silk and pull your shoulder one at a time back through the silk, and you can smoothly move on. The back lever is a strength position. This is what it looks like. If you don't have the strength to do this skill at first, here's some drills that will help develop the strength for you. Hang by the silks and flip over. I want your head and your bottom to be parallel to the ground. Hold this 3 to 5 seconds. As you get stronger, you can straddle your legs. This looks nice, and it always builds more strength for the ultimate goal of holding your legs straight out and performing the back lever. If you make this part of your normal workout, you will develop the strength over time to do this skill. Either way, you can always do this skill in the straddle position. If you're not comfortable hanging freely from the silk, you can always create a wrist lock with one or both hands to feel more secure in the silk. If you're doing a back lever high in the silk, this allows you to have much more security while holding onto the silks during the back lever. I teach the wrist lock later on in this video. One of the skills you can do from the back lever is called the skin the cat. This demonstrates a lot of shoulder flexibility. This will also help develop the strength and flexibility to perform the back lever. I suggest starting very low in the silks when starting the skill. On the floor, just flipping over and stretching your shoulders. It is a little more difficult to hang on the silks in this position, so I suggest using the wrist lock. This is a very good drill to have as your silk warm-up. The cross roll-up requires a lot more strength than the average skill on the silks. Let's first take a look at it. You're going to roll your body up, flipping forward, while wrapping the silk around your arms and ascending higher into the silks. This is actually a very technical skill as well as strength-oriented. First start off on the ground while wrapping and hugging the stroke down, raising your hands to the sky. Now shuffle the silk a little bit to make sure the silks are even. The next step is going to be to hug down and wrap once again, putting the silk between your index finger and your thumb. You can see here the silk is like a hammock and not a rope. You want it spread out comfortably on the arms. Make sure it feels pretty even on your arms. Then you can go to support. Once you're in support, lift your body up towards the ceiling, straddle your legs, and wrap the silk with both legs. Most of the weight resistance is in the silk with your legs right now. There's very little weight on your arms at this point. Now you can see the shoulders are a little bit above the wrists at this point. So you take one leg off the silk, look at your stomach, lower your shoulders down towards the floor. You can see here that the wrists are above the shoulders. You're going to continue to lower down while your bottom goes towards the floor. Your arms are going to move closer to the side of your body, and you'll slowly take the other leg off the silk and quickly get on top of the silk once again. Repeat this process, pushing your bottom up to the ceiling, grabbing the silk with your feet and causing a very strong resistance. Just repeat this process over and over. One foot off, bottom down, get on top of the silk again. Now when you roll up, it's very important where you position the silk on your arms. If you go too far underneath the arms, you won't be able to continue rolling up. So you want to stay around the elbow area. You have to practice a little bit, but eventually you'll get a good feeling for it. To get out of this skill, you have to do a back roll in the silks. The trick here is putting pressure on the silks during the entire back roll. I would watch the video and encourage you to have somebody close by just to spot you or watch when you do this. Now let's take a look at this skill from the side. We're going to hug down, make the silk comfortable around the arms and make sure they're even. Hug the silk once again, placing the silk between the index finger and the thumb, and this time we're not going to use the silks. As you get stronger, you'll be able to place the silk on your arms properly and feel pressure on the arms with the silk the entire roll up. Just watch the video and practice this very consistently, maybe 5 or 10 minutes each silk workout. You will get the feel of the skill. It's very technical. You just have to make sure you wrap up the silks properly. I encourage you to do the one leg slide down drill, as I showed you before this drill, to get stronger and more comfortable with placing the silk properly on your arms. Here you can see I have one silk behind the leg and one silk in front of the leg. This helps me balance in a perfect straddled handstand. Another skill you can do is wrap one foot in the silk and let the other foot hang off the silk, like the earlier drill we did, showing an arch position. It's a very nice position to show, and you can always slowly lower over to the Y scale position. It's a very nice looking skill. Initially, the roll-up stuff on the silks might be a little tight around your arms or a little uncomfortable at first, but as you practice this and get stronger, it will become much more comfortable around your arm. You can see here that the silks are hammocked out, not like a rope, it's like a hammock, and the roll-out position is just pushing the silk down towards the floor the whole way as you unwind. It just takes practice, have a mat underneath you, and have somebody help you if you can. The wrist lock is a very safe and secure way to hang from the silk with one or both hands. This is very necessary in flying skills on the silks and will help you stay in the silks very securely. Start off by wrapping the silk around your arm downward and lifting your palm to the ceiling. Then you can grab the silk. This is a wrist lock. To adjust the height, you can simply pull on the silk that's below and slide your hand up into the silk a little bit higher. This will help you when doing certain flying skills. Hang down on the silk just a little bit just to get a feeling for how it's supposed to feel and to see if it's secure. To get out of this lock, you can simply unwind the silk from your arm or pull the hand straight down and the lock will come undone naturally. Now here I'm wrapping the silk around once. Some people like to wrap it around twice as it feels a little more secure. That's fine as well. To wrap both hands, do the other hand just like we did the first hand, and use the other arm to adjust the height of the silk on the opposite hand. Do this to both hands until the silks feel even. Once you've completed this, try hanging or swinging back and forth on the silks to make sure your locks feel comfortable and secure. There's several skills you can do with the wrist lock, whether you're swinging in a circle or back and forth. The angel is a flying skill. The first step is to find the edge of the silks. Once you've done that, place the edge of the silks under your armpit. That's where the resistance is going to be. Now this wrap here is not an exact science. You just reach in and grab a lot of the fabric. The more fabric you grab, the more secure you will be. The less fabric you grab, the bigger your wings are going to be. You want to even out both sides so you feel pretty balanced, and then just hang and see how the resistance feels. You can see from the video that the resistance should be and is underneath the armpit. When you're ready to fly, simply walk out from the center under the silks, run around with tension on the silks the entire circle, and lift your legs up. When you hold your arms out to the side, it will make a bigger wing. Remember, the resistance is under your armpits. If you have a motor, the motor will lift you up while doing the exact same thing you would be doing on the floor. The flip fallout skill is a dropping skill on the silk. Let's start out by climbing pretty low, I'd say about 6 feet. Now we're going to place the silk to one side of our body. In this case, it's the right side. Take the leg on the same side, which is the right leg, and cross it over the silk and pitch down very, very tight to cause a lock. Once we've done this, we can reach behind us and grab the silk that's hanging below us. We're going to take that free hanging silk and place it between our legs, very comfortably and tight in our crotch. Now you're going to reach up to the silk above you and simply climb up the silk. As you climb up and ascend, you'll feel the silk comfortably fall in your crotch. It looks a little uncomfortable, but actually it's pretty comfortable. Now I need to turn you around so you can see what it looks like from the front. The left arm is going to be the lock. As long as you grip hanging left here, you're very secure. You take the right hand and let go and grab the silk right here on your hip. Once you do that, you'll flip out. The left hand will cause a lock. As long as it's on your front or a little to the side, you're very safe. I suggest you have a mat below you and someone to assist in the beginning when you're working on the skill. The star drop is a dramatic skill. Let's take a quick look at it. First, you're going to wrap the skill around your body and hook the top leg over the silk. The silk behind you, you grab it and wrap it around your leg, just between your legs. Then the silk is going to cross over your stomach and you'll wrap it around your body one time. Simply grab the silk that's hanging down with your left hand, take the leg off, and you're ready to do the drop. You'll be securely locked in the silk. Let's take a slower look at this wrap. I'm going to torque my body to where the silk is on my back. Now if you watch the bottom foot, I kick the silk so I can get both my feet under. Now you see the silk is over my stomach, wrapped around my body once. I take the upper leg and hook the knee over the silk. This causes enough resistance to let go with my right hand. And from this position, we're pretty secure. We can continue wrapping the silk around the leg, in between the legs. Make sure it's tight, that way the fall will be more comfortable when you actually do it. Drape the silk around your stomach in front, one time around your body. It's very important to grip the silk tightly in your left hand. This will act as a safety. Now you take your leg off the silk. When you let go of the silk, you'll simply unwind and spin down. The more you do this skill, the more comfortable it becomes. If you're not comfortable just letting go, you can break this into stages. You can let go of the silk and grab the silk again, catching your leg on the silk. This slows the whole process down, and now you can continue with the second stage by taking the leg off the silk, unwinding, and putting your head back for the second stage. With the shooting star drop, we're going to combine the front flip fall with the shooting star. It's a two-stage drop, so we prepare just as we did with the star drop, wrapping the silk around our body once and hooking the top leg, placing the silk between our legs, wrapping it tightly around the leg, then crossing over our body, wrapping once around our body, and here's the difference. Now we're going to put the silk around the leg again. That one simple step will add another stage to this drop. You can climb up the silk that's above you, and as you climb, the silk will fall comfortably in your crotch. I use that left foot to keep the silk behind me. You can see that right there. Now we're going to place the silk behind our back, with both hands above our head. If you grab the silk in front, that's your safety. This is the wrap for the double fall, which is a flip fall into the star drop. So once I let go of that silk, I'll fall forward, and you'll see it here, flipping once right into a star drop. Just a couple things to remember on this skill. You want to wrap the silk tightly around your body. The tighter it is, the more comfortable the wrap will be when you hit the bottom of the fall. Also, as long as you have the silk tightly in your left hand, That's your safety, and it makes it almost impossible to come out of the silk. Just watch the video closely. The more you practice the skill, the more natural the feeling of the skill will become. It just becomes easier. Finishing up the skill just takes a lot of silk around your body, so you will have to be higher in the silk when you start. Hold the silk in front. You can also use a safety and divide the skill in 2 stages. See here, I fall forward and grab the silk. Right here, it's just going to start the star drop. This divides these stages. When you break it up in stages, you can make sure each technique for each stage is proper. To get out of this wrap, let go with your left hand, grab the silk above you, and the silk will unwrap from your body. Welcome to the amazing